What's up, humans, and welcome to a Wednesday Psicoactivo. I hope everybody's doing okay. Before my story today, I have a few announcements that I want to make for everybody because over the last couple of weeks, I've gotten a lot of new subscribers. Welcome, and I hope you like the content. There's a lot in there that for everyone who's curious about different things, you will find something for you. I'm pretty sure. I want to let you guys know two things. One is that I just got a new spot on KGRA radio on Fridays afternoons to air one show per week from my channel on their platforms. And people who subscribe to their platform, KGRA, I'm going to leave it in the description. For every one person who subscribes to KGRA, to my podcast, I get a buck. So whoever is trying to help, that's another way that you can help, and it will be very appreciated. If you already saw the interviews that I've already done, I would recommend maybe skip that for a little bit, but I am going to play some interviews that are new when the time comes. I guess the first one that I'm going to play there will be my second announcement of the day. I told you yesterday that I was part of UFO Twitter Week, which had me really excited, and then I felt like my guest wasn't going to respond to my messages, so I canceled it. And on the same day that I canceled it, just a few hours later, my guest responded and he said yes. And I'm really excited and I'm really nervous because he wrote 3 of the books that I think are essential to understand what's going on with the phenomenon. So on Sunday, September 29, at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Psicoactivo is going to do a space with author Peter Levenda, who co-authored the Secret Machines non-fiction series with Tom DeLonge. So yeah, I got Peter Levenda. I am going to have 2 amazing co-hosts. It's going to be the Astral, who's the main organizer at UFO Twitter Week. And I'm going to have Dan Setterstrom from That UFO podcast. I also asked Andy, but he's traveling. He's a football nut like me, as you can see. And he's going to watch his team play, so we got to leave the man alone while that happens. I understand that completely. Trust me, Andy. But I am thrilled to have both Astral and Dan co-hosting with me because Dan is very respectful to the work Peter Levenda has done. He admires him very much. And I've noticed that Astral tries to be always very respectful, and he's always like trying to put people together and make them coexist within his spaces. And I think that is a lot of what we need today, especially in the UFO community. So I'm having Peter Levenda. That's the announcement. Yeah. I'm already preparing. I'm already reading the new book. I already read the past 2. They're amazing. Especially the thing that trapped me, the thing that captivated me the most was the stuff about the ancient gods and how there might be like a connection between the Greek gods, the Vedas, and the Anunnaki. So I'm going to try to ask Peter about that. I am going to address the consciousness aspect of the phenomenon, which I think is still, to this day, one of the aspects that is paid the less attention to, which I think is a mistake. So I'm going to ask Peter what he thinks about that. And I'm going to ask him about Dr. Jacobo Greenberg, because he told me that he's read Greenberg's work, and I want to know what he thinks about it and what he thinks about his disappearance and Greenberg's disagreements with Carlos Castaneda. because they were collaborators at a certain point. I have a new video that I'm doing on Carlos Castaneda and Greenberg's relationship from a recent video Ida Cuellar just dropped on his YouTube channel. But that's going to be, I think, for later this week or maybe next week. But yeah, I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. I hope you guys can make it there. If you don't, I'm going to record the space and I am going to drop the video eventually. So it's on KGRA. So let's continue with today's story. After the UAPDA was gutted again, I found a few nuggets of information that I think are worth talking about. The first one came from Dr. Gary Nolan, who is proposing something different. And he realized that there's a lot of disagreement within different groups about the eminent domain and other aspects of the UAPDA. And he proposes that, here it is. This is a really good tweet that explains one way in which the UAPDA could eventually pass, but in parts. Dr. Gary Nolan realizes that there's a lot of people within different groups. It can be the Skinwalker Ranch group. It can be Dr. Jacques Vallée, who I suspect also has material that he wants to study out in the open without having to hide it. I understand that. I've seen Dr. Gary Nolan show some of his material on the Jesse Michaels podcast on American Alchemy. So he has material too. And I understand that they are not happy with some of the ways in which the UAPDA was attempted to be passed. I get it. So Dr. Gary Nolan, I guess this is his way of trying to explain the best way to move forward with the UAPDA. This doesn't mean that they're not going to keep trying to pass every single aspect of the really sensible UAPDA draft that we got last year, but it can be attempted to pass part by part, which is going to take longer, I think. But this is the solution that Dr. Gary Nolan proposes. He says, I think a strategy moving forward is to break the UAPDA into manageable chunks. Let them be fought one by one and separate out the contentious parts as standalone laws. Those are, as I told you, the eminent domain and this commission that is going to be formed, that is going to make all the decisions. That is also going to be a point of contention because everybody wants to place their own candidate to be part of this commission, and I think that's going to be also kind of difficult to put together. Continue with Dr. Gary Nolan's proposal. He says, I know Carl's arguments about why eminent domain is needed, and in principle I agree. He says the act would have no teeth. I'd be happy gumming disclosure into submission until we grow sharp little puppy teeth. That's an interesting analogy. But yeah, I think it's potentially a smart play, but it's going to take longer. And yeah, the idea is that, and we've been talking about this in various podcasts before. I've been telling Christian Harloff about this, that with some of those provisions that are a cause of contention, it would be kind of impossible to pass it. So we need to take those out, and the rest of it can be passed and start with that. The other points can be passed in a subsequent National Defense Appropriation Act. So yeah, this is one part that I think it's interesting and important. The other one, you guys know, being a reporter or a journalist in any area means that you have to develop your sources to speak. I was in sports for a few years. There was one time when I was just starting, really, when one of my sources happened to be a friend of mine from high school. And he used to be a trainer for one of the kids' teams at Chivas of Guadalajara, which is a soccer team in Guadalajara, one of the most famous ones. And this guy told me something that he shouldn't have told me about how the team operates on the inside, which, if I exposed it, it would mean that kids would have better training methods than they did at the time, because it would be an issue that people would be starting to look at, especially parents. So I asked my source if it was possible for me to talk about this and conduct an interview with him. At the time, I was just starting. I was just like 1 year into my job as a journalist in sports. Um, there were many things that I didn't know back then, and this guy was also pretty inexperienced, and he agreed to an interview. But he sent me pictures and everything, and I asked him and double asked him, "Are you sure you want me to put your picture in there? Like, this is information that could get you in trouble." And he was like, "Nah, that's cool. I'm okay." And I did. And the owner of the team threatened me with a lawsuit. He didn't have any basis because I had all the receipts, so it was all over. Um, it didn't really last long, but my friend did get in trouble though. He was suspended. He wasn't fired. He was suspended. But yeah, that made me learn a huge lesson that you need to be careful with the way in which you present your information. The best way to present that one specifically was to just throw the news saying that it's a source that I have that is works within the institution, and not reveal this source's identity. This is the way that this type of journalism works the best. And people like Mr. Chris Sharp or Mr. Ross Coulthard are at the very forefront right now of the UFO topic in terms of reporting. Marek von Rennenkampf also does great work. And they know how it works. Now I know, I've been 14 years at this. I know how it works. But last week, when the UAPDA was gutted again, Mr. Chris Sharp released an article where he talks about who could potentially be responsible for this. There's a small part that he took out, because he felt that potentially he or his family could be in danger, because it is very, very sensitive information. And he has to use terms such as alleged and all this stuff without confirming anything, which is the way journalism works. And someone ousted him for getting that part out of his initial article. That was very risky to do. This is something that I would consider some sort of aggression against me, because you're exposing not only me, but also potentially my sources, who in this case could be in danger due to the how sensitive the information is. And Chris has had no other option but to release the part that he erased, and it is pretty interesting. So I'm gonna share it with you because he already shared it. So people need to know about this. This is new to me. This is something that he wrote. The first tweet was, "Okay, so someone has recklessly put me in an extreme risk. So I have updated last week's article relating to the UAPDA, reverting back to details previously mentioned. This time, the details are far more specific. So here it is, the alleged Undersea Retrieval program." Here goes. This is the part that Mr. Christopher Sharp erased and had to put back on. It says, "Liberation Times has uncovered details of an alleged program focused on retrieving advanced crafts from beneath the sea, some reportedly of non-human or unknown origin. This alleged program draws on multiple agencies and departments specialized assets, and expertise to carry out these missions. Among those involved are the Maritime Branch of the CIA's Directorate of Operations, the U.S. Navy, the National Underwater Reconnaissance Office, jointly operated by the Navy and the CIA, and the United States Special Operations Command. It is further understood that the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution has provided deep submergence vehicles to support these retrieval efforts. Once recovered, these crafts are allegedly transferred to the Office of Naval Research, which subsequently hands them over to the defense contractors for detailed analysis. So, Sharp means that the defense contractors are your Lockheed Martins, your Northrop Grummons, all of those. And the ones involved in this are the Navy and the CIA, apparently. This is news to me. I had no idea that they were making crash retrievals, but under the sea. Holy hell. This is big. If you guys don't remember, it was an article written in the Daily Mail by, co-written by Mr. Chris Sharp, Mr. Matt Ford. They uncovered this crash retrieval operation from the CIA, the Office of Global Access. Now, Chris Sharp is coming out with this information. I wonder if they're the same group or something different. Because I don't think there's just one crash retrieval operation going on. If it's a global endeavor, there must be several groups involved from different governments of the world all working together. That would be logical to me. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what makes sense to me. Let's first address that Mr. Chris Sharp has some of the most accurate information in a lot of what he reports. And I think he does have potentially contact with people from the DoD and the intelligence community in general. So he's well informed of everything that's going on. And whoever ousted him like this, it's really unfortunate. I don't know. I get that some people are more comfortable to just release whatever they write and just leave it as. So there's no hesitance about their work. I guess this is where this person is operating from, and that's why he called out Chris. But I don't think this was Chris's intention. I think that if someone like with his level of expertise has to take something out, is either because the editor, if he has an editor, did it for him, it was like out of his control, or in this case, if this information could be damaging to someone, either he or one of his sources. And I think that is what happened. I hope that this doesn't cause any problems for Chris and for his sources, but it is really unfortunate that it did happen. When you see that, I tend to try and stay quiet. And if I'm going to address it with the person who did it, I ask them directly in private so they can tell me why it happened. But, we all think differently, and we all have different opinions and different reactions. So I don't want to think that it was done like on purpose. I don't think it was, but I do think it was a mistake. Yeah. So, Chris, I hope you're well, man. It's a great, great piece of information that we all need to look at. And I'm just echoing what you did, and keep up the great work, man. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you can get my videos every day as soon as they drop. And please, if you want to subscribe to the KGRA show, I'm going to leave a link in the description. Every person that subscribes gets me $1 every month. So thank you. If you want to support the channel in any other way, there's a members channel right now. I know I'm not doing a lot there right now, but everything I do is for, And I am going to drop a video soon, like a more detailed video just for members. It's been a week. I think I'm going to do a weekly one. But I hope that everything else I'm doing, you guys are enjoying it just as much. And yeah, any other help that you want to send this way, it's in the description. There are links for everything. Let me know what you guys think about that and my new guest for the UFO Twitter week, Mr. Peter Levenda. We're gonna go through some spoilers of the book, I think. And let me know what you think about this, what just happened with Chris, and this revelation that there is a crash retrieval team under the sea going on. Holy hell. So yeah, I'll see you guys until tomorrow for a new video. Bye.